The JSE All Share index is flat at around 64,450 points, on track to book a fifth straight decline as caution prevails ahead of a key U.S. inflation report which could determine the size of future interest rate hikes by the Federal Reserve. Independent market analyst Karl Gevers joins us now to dissect the latest market news. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Give us an overview of how the markets are faring so far today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Paul. The JSE at the moment, or this morning has experienced pretty low volumes, as markets generally are treading water ahead of the US CPI number this afternoon. So the expectation there is that the expectation is about 8.1% for the last month. So if there's a different or a higher number that comes through there, obviously there's a risk of increased rate hikes. But locally, as you mentioned, the market pretty much flat, top 40 marginally up. Resources doing a bit better today, up just short of 1%. Financials up just about 70 basis points, and the industrial index down 0.5%. The rand is continuing to weaken, currently at 18 rand 30 to the US dollar. The commodity is slightly stronger when one looks at gold, up 0.25% to $1,675. And then oil also slightly stronger on the back of supply cuts by OPEC. International markets also remaining mixed as the market is expecting the CPI number, and that will give some direction.
Now, U.S. core inflation is expected to return to a 40-year high. What are your expectations from that data?
Yeah, I mean, we saw yesterday from the PPI number that came out that it was higher than expected. So there is a risk that the CPI number could exceed what the market expects. So as I said, if it's above 8.1%, I think we can see an increase in volatility as the market sort of grapples with the risk of continued. I mean, I think a base case is continued hike in the U.S. because the Fed minutes recently indicated that they'll continue hiking rates to fight and try and squash inflation despite the recession risk. So that'll certainly have an impact on markets and also currency. So that if the Fed hikes and continues to hike to try and fight inflation, the US dollar will continue to strengthen, and us here with the rand will find that the rand will weaken, and also we'll have to continue with rate hikes here to just keep the rand competitive.
Stats SA has published the latest mining production and sales data. What do those numbers look like?
Yeah, slightly better than expected. So the expectation was, I think it was 6.9 decline for the month of August, and the decline was only 5.9. When I say only, still disappointing number. So we've had a pretty poor year so far, every month being down on the prior year since January. And the main reasons there have been, we've had weather, a lot of rain, flooding in Durban earlier in the year. We've had the Russia-Ukraine crisis. We've had port issues. We've had load shedding, and then Transnet, and also further strikes that we've seen. So a lot of headwinds for the mining industry, and on top of that, cost increases. So as disappointing as it is a reality, and certainly not a great indicator for the GDP number for the third quarter. So, I mean, the sales numbers are looking a bit better than that, though. Sales increased by 4.3%, so that is positive on positive commodity prices.
And very lastly, before we let you go, Bain is appealing to the Treasury to revoke the decade-long ban. Do they even have a leg to stand on?
Yeah, I mean, they do claim that they've been banned without due process and also unproven allegations. But I mean, they have been found to have had ties to illegal dealings, in the work with SARS, in their contract with SARS, and that was during the Nugent and also the Zondo Commission. And they did sort of admit to mistakes that were made and regret those. So they did repay the fees that they earned on that. But I think the more important thing is here that there need to be consequences. Otherwise, these actions will be repeated, and there's no deterrent. So I think they'll obviously, appeal it, but I think there has to be a consequential punishment for the actions. And we've seen the UK, even on what Bain's done in South Africa, the UK has instituted a 3-year ban on public work. So I think, as much as they'll appeal it, I think it is necessary to have a punishment.
Karl Gevers, thank you very much. Thanks for your time and that analysis, portfolio manager and co-founder at Benguela Global Fund Managers. We leave it there for now, rounding up the very latest in the world of business.